Okay, Cuis Smalltalk for resale. So we've covered a lot of the mechanics of dragging and dropping and what happens and how to do undos and those sorts of things. Uh, but the question is still remains is how do we know how to implement the rules for these sorts of things? And the how do I know what I can drop on something and what I can't and what's legal to do? And if I try to drop a card on a position for one of the spares, which can only hold one card, that it knows that's a silly thing to do. Uh, and so, one thing to notice, I guess the first thing to notice here is that these rules only have to get uh, invoked or checked when I'm actually doing a drop. So that's the clue here is that we've got these auto move things which we don't have to worry about, but we have when user drags and drops something around, is that a sensible thing to do or are we just being silly? And so and things like oh yeah, we've got to count the number of cards, and we try to do something where I only number free cell is the number of free cells plus one, so which means I can move one card, but I can't move two cards. So if I try to move more than I'm allowed, that's an illegal move, and we get some feedback on that. So let's take a look here, and if we look at dropping and grabbing on free cell, we can see that we have columns and card containers and so forth. So if we take a look at a container, one of these piles up here, a container is, a pile or a deck or anyway, you can see the card container morphs, column, a deck, a discard, a pile morph, a spare morph, whatever. Uh, so the container, if that wants a drop of a card or a column, so we can move, as you saw here, we can actually move columns of things from one to another. So it's more than just a single card. We have to deal with columns of cards as well. And so one thing we want to make sure that we're not dragging a card from one game to another because that's cheating. And so we actually have to check for that in here. But we go ahead and we find the class, which is the specific type of container that we have. And if we're spare and the container morph wants to drop, then if it's a spare, then we ask the spare, say, do you want the drop of this thing or not? Otherwise, if it's a pile, we say, okay, do you want this or not? Otherwise, if it's a column, then likewise. That's pretty bullet-headed there. And a column likewise wants drop of card or column. And in this case, we have a test that's sensible. If the card or column has a face one less than the top card, and the top card has a different color than the thing, then we can go ahead and put something down. So we know we can put the 9 on the 10 because the 9 is one less and a different color than the 10, and that works for us. So if we go up to card container, and dropping and dragging allows more drop, true, but do we accept it? Okay, and so what this does is this actually delegates to the table. So we grab and we find out what our table is. If something's been showing drop shadow, we want to hide that because something's being dropped, and then we want to add the card. And then if it happens to be a pile of cards rather than a single card, then we go ahead and add each card. And let's see, yeah, we're okay there. that's the card container. The column, let's see, do we have anything interesting here? Deck, well, let's say discard. Dropping and grabbing, it doesn't accept things. A pile, here we are. Spare, no, we didn't check there. Here's the pick legal. So things that are legal to pick up. Here we are. Pile wants drop of. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so if the pile wants drop of, answer is true if the pile is empty and the card is an ace, or if the card's the same suit and one higher in face value. So we have to take a look and see what's being dropped, and make sure it's this game. And we actually have a card, and then we go ahead and say, okay, if I'm empty, then the face card has to be an ace. I'll take any ace. And if it's not, then I want to take the top card off the pile, and if it is one less than the card I have and has the same suit, then I can go ahead because I'm building up from ace through king within the same suit. So all of the basically what happens is all these containers delegate to their table the rules for checking to whether a drop is legal or not. And so if a drop is legal, then the Klondike has a different set of rules than the free cell, and so forth, depending on what you're doing. These are where the little bits get set. So run start in test implementers free cell, and so again these are just, if you take a look at card, you have things about the face and the value and the suit and so forth, and whether they're red or black and that kind of stuff. So that's basically it. That's free cell. This is how to use the interface and the browsers to look around, and it's actually very interesting how these things get set up, and how you can initialization, I should say, how you set these things up, and make the areas, and make the button area, which delegates and so forth. I think you've got should have a basic ability to go through and find and understand the mechanics of how to build yourself a card game. And so please feel free to add different solitaire games to the collection. Do something if you're really aggressive, poker or bridge or something else. But it's just a way of poking around, having fun, and learning stuff. I mean, who would think you could learn so much by playing solitaire? So, oops, pardon me. So that's it. That's the series, and thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it and learned something. I've enjoyed doing these. Thank you. Bye.